Dr. Jaffe, should people take magnesium and choline for life or only when their pH is low?
Boy, isn't that a good question. The PERC Mag Plus Guard PERC choline citrate combination is a multi-beneficial combo, every component active, as is generally true with PERC and by design. And the question is, do you need it for life? Well, first let's review what magnesium and choline are responsible for in the body. And we start with knowing that there is massive deficiency in the diet, in the people of America, and of the industrial world. Now, people living in an agrarian society, eating whole foods in a seasonal way, vine ripe, and etc., do not have these same problems. They take in much more magnesium, much less calcium. They take in more potassium. They tend to preserve their kidneys and their cells much better when they're elderly, when they're long-lived. So we do know that deficiency of magnesium and choline are pervasive in our society. Dr. Ranelin has shown that magnesium availability in the diet has reduced by half in just the last 50 years. At the same time, the need for magnesium has more than doubled. Now, if you get half as much as you're used to and the need has doubled, that's a fourfold difference. And fourfold is technically 400%. This is a big difference. So we can start with the premise that a dose or two a day of PERC Mag Plus Guard and choline citrate for life, for adding years to life and life to years, as essential for life as is, say, PERC LifeGuard capsules and PERC Potency Guard powder. So on the one hand, I would say that the pH is the measure of need for more, but that a healthy person, knowing what I just said, unless they were able to have their own farm and their own biodynamic source for food and a perfectly stress-free life, because stress causes us to lose magnesium. Diuretics and medications tend to cause us to lose magnesium. A diet that's too high in protein or any immune reactions or neurohormonal imbalances all cause us to lose magnesium. And what does magnesium do in the body? Well, it's nature's calcium channel blocker. That's a big deal. Nature's calcium channel blocker. It protects fats from damage and transport. It's an antioxidant that protects essential fats. Omega-3 and omega-6 fats are protected. EPA and DHA are protected by magnesium. In the absence of magnesium, air, oxygen in the blood, oxygen can damage those fats. Magnesium protects them. Magnesium is essential for metallothionein. Metallothionein is the body's sponge to soak up toxic metals before they get in the body. But you must have magnesium and some other essential components, but you must have magnesium in order to make metallothionein. And in order for the battery of the cell to work, the so-called proton gradient depends upon magnesium. And I could go on. There are more things that magnesium does than you can shake a stick at. Burt Valley made a whole career out of studying magnesium and zinc, I think, but magnesium primarily. And so have others. So I would suggest, now the choline. What does the choline do? Well, choline helps make the bile more soluble. Cholinergic bile salts help get the waste products out of the liver into the gallbladder and then into the intestines where fiber can bind them and get out of the body. And choline itself balances inositol at the cell membrane so that communication within and between the cells, which depends upon the choline to inositol ratio, can be better. The communication can be more harmonious between cells. And most importantly, it becomes acetylcholine in the brain. Acetylcholine is a soothing neurotransmitter. If you want to reduce your anxiety, you want more acetylcholine. If you want to increase your anxiety, you want less acetylcholine. So both the magnesium and the choline do multiple beneficial things. I would suggest that in the 21st century, for the reasons I mentioned before, the stress of life and the cost of high-tech living, I would suggest that a dose or two a day of Perk Mag Plus Guard and Perk Choline Citrate are, to me, now part of a healthy living program. I want to live well for life, because even if everything else in your life is perfect and you have no immune reactions and your neurohormonal balance is fine, you are likely to be marginal and under stress deficient in magnesium. And more importantly, if you're taking any of the many medicines, from diuretics to chemotherapy, from antihypertensives to a raft of others, including proton pump inhibitors and stomach acid inhibitors, etc., they all cause a decrease in magnesium uptake and an increase in magnesium loss. The consequence is more magnesium deficiency in those populations. So if you're taking any of those medicines, if you have stress of life, if you're not eating a perfect diet, my suggestion is that 1 or 2 doses a day of Perk Mag Plus Guard and Perk Choline Citrate are essential for healthy living. And I do recognize that there are exceptions to every rule. If you measure your serum magnesium and you're at the upper end of the upper half of the usual range, which is very rare, I would say you don't need more. So if you want to test, Ron Eileen has shown that if you're in the lower half of the serum magnesium range, you're chronically deficient. If you're in the upper half of the usual lab range, you're probably sufficient. And if you want to know whether you have enough in your cells, you probably need to be near the top, but not above the range. And the reason you won't be above the top is because you have kidneys. If you have no kidneys, you're in the hands of a nephrologist who's taking care of you, and I'll consult with your colleague if you don't have kidneys. But because magnesium is water soluble, because choline is water soluble, these are self-regulated in urine, sweat, and stool. So you don't have to worry about taking too much, but you do have to be concerned about getting too little in, even if you're a healthy person, eating a healthy diet, living a healthy lifestyle, and living on the beach.